Hey everybody, my name is Shanif, and I'm the founder of Locusive. Now, if you haven't heard of Locusive, we're a virtual assistant that lets you connect your internal data sources to large language models like ChatGPT. Now, one of the interesting things about connecting your internal data to these large language models is that you can start to use your own data to create new content or come up with new ideas that's really personalized to your business. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you how we use Locusive to essentially take a look at all of the marketing documents, all of the social media content that we've created at Locusive to allow us to create new content using our existing knowledge base and our existing documents. So let's jump in. All right, so if you know me, you know I talk a lot about hooking up internal data sources to large language models because I think that there's a lot of power in being able to do that. But today I wanted to show a concrete example for how you might be able to do that. So here's the problem that I was trying to solve for myself. Now, if you follow me on LinkedIn, you know that I like to post content on a daily basis. My content is usually a mix of educational material about AI and just some personal experiences that I have while I'm building Locusive. But while it's interesting content, I think it maybe isn't super interesting for a lot of folks who don't know me on LinkedIn, and it's not as compelling as what a lot of folks are out there writing. So I wanted to start improving my writing, my posts on LinkedIn, but I wanted to keep true to myself. I wanted to make sure that the content I'm putting out there is educational, informative, but perhaps a little bit more compelling. And the way I wanted to do this was actually by sort of emulating or taking into account the writing style of someone on LinkedIn who I really respect. His name is Adam Robinson, and he is the founder of retention.com and RB2B. Awesome guy. He's sort of a hero because he's bootstrapped his SaaS company to 20 million in ARR, pushes a lot of great content, and he talks a lot about how he's been able to leverage LinkedIn to get more leads. He calls his posting style a bit of edutainment, so education and entertainment. I really love his posts. Adam, if you're reading this, what's up? Hopefully this is interesting for you. And so what I wanted to do was take his writing style and apply it to my own content. And I was thinking about what's the best way to do this, and I realized that I could use Locusive to do this, to make this happen. So here's how I ended up doing this. Now, the first thing I did was I hooked up our Notion account to Locusive. I use Notion for everything, and I have a marketing calendar of all of the social media posts that I've created. It's got all of the content within my posts, it's got a title, it's got the date, and I realized that I should be able to leverage a lot of this content to create more interesting new posts in Adam's style. So what I wanted to do was essentially have the Locusive assistant, help me in taking my content and applying it to Adam's writing style, or vice versa, I guess, taking Adam's writing style and applying it to my content. So what I decided to do next was use the Locusive assistant to come up with this process. Now, our assistant is a Slack application currently. It's a Slack app, but it's connected into all of our internal data sources. And so here, this is the Locusive web front end. You can see that I have Notion hooked into the Locusive system, and it also has a list of all of our pages, one of which has our marketing calendar right here. Okay, so now with the right prompt, I should be able to take what's in Notion and create a new post that's applicable. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to create a prompt that will essentially hopefully get me an interesting social media post about the types of content that I'm trying to create. And I'm going to copy and paste a couple of parts of the prompt that I've got, and I'll walk you through it. So part one is right here. It's sort of an introduction for the LLM. It says, hey, I'm following Adam Robinson. Love how he creates his posts. He calls it edutainment. I'd like to write posts in a similar way. And most of my posts are about LLMs, Gen AI, and ways in which companies can use AI for their workflows. Okay, next part. I'd like your help creating a new post about how complicated it is to create infrastructure that can connect your internal data to an external LLM, but I'd like you to do it with Adam's writing style. All right, next part. I'm going to tell the LLM, I'm giving you a couple of examples of Adam's posts, and I'd like you to analyze his writing style and summarize it. Then you should take a look at 10 or 15 of my own social media posts around Gen AI, and let's say building infrastructure to connect your internal data to AI, and help me come up with a post of my own in Adam's style. Now, here are some examples of his posts. So, post 1, you can see I've got Adam's LinkedIn open. If you guys aren't following him and you're a SaaS founder, would definitely encourage you to do so. Not only is his writing really compelling, but I've already learned a ton. So here are 3 posts that I really like. I'm just going to copy and paste them. Sorry, Adam, hopefully that this is kosher for you, but let's just go ahead and copy and paste them into the prompt here. So that's post 1, post 2, copy and paste this here. And post 3. Do that here. Okay, so those are 3 posts that the LLM can use to learn about how do you create edutainment or interesting educational content on LinkedIn. And now I'm going to give the system some final instructions. So I'm just going to copy and paste it here. Please use the following process to provide your answer. First, summarize Adam's writing style out loud. For those of you who follow me, you know that having the LLM think out loud essentially helps it improve its own process and the answers that it gives you. Next, go get 15 to 20 of my social media marketing posts from Notion, specifically the ones around AI, Gen AI, agents, LLMs. All right, then summarize the main learnings and takeaways from my own posts, and then think out loud about how some of my posts could fit into Adam's writing style. And then finally, create a new social media post that I can post to my own account. Now, it's going to go through and it's going to follow this process. We've built up the Locusive system so that it can do a little bit of thinking and understanding. So it's going to look at all of my social media content based on what I have given it. It's going to take a look at Adam's writing style, think out loud. It might think to itself, so it's possible it won't show its process here. And then what it's going to give me is a social media post. So I'll zoom in here. What you're going to see is a list of what the LLM is doing. All right, so gave me a post that I can use here. Let's take a look at it. Here's a social media post about connecting internal data to an external LLM, written in the style of Adam Robinson. All right, so you got your header here, trying to get ChatGPT to access your internal data. It's harder than you think. We've all been blown away, a little blown away emoji right here. Naturally, everyone wants to unleash that power on their own data. Here are 3 reasons why it's tough. It's a technical nightmare. That is true. It's been pretty tough building this. Cost can spiral out of control. Also true, you're on your own. Certainly true to a certain extent. So here are the takeaways. PS, want to learn more, hit me up. Okay, and it provides some sources for, posts that it used and content that it used. So maybe not the best, but certainly interesting. Maybe a bit too many emojis, but hey, I think Adam also used a couple in his own, or maybe not. Let's see. No, he didn't. So, this is an area where you might be able to say, well, you can improve on this by removing emojis. In the future, we're going to have the ability for you to maybe leverage Claude instead of our default LLMs, because I really like Claude for this stuff. And in the future, you're going to be able to say, well, just maybe /post to LinkedIn, because we are building a virtual assistant. But in any case, here's an example of how you can use your internal data to basically create new content, as long as that data is hooked up to an LLM. You could also do things like maybe have the system give you new social media post ideas, or work through a blog based on your existing content. Sky's the limit as long as your data is connected to an LLM. So hopefully this was interesting for you. It kind of shows you the power of what connecting your own internal data to an LLM can do. Certainly lots of room for improvement here, but the foundation's in place for you being able to use AI with your own data. All right, now hopefully this was interesting for you, and if it is something you want to apply to your own business, feel free to hit me up. We are doing this with lots of companies now. All right, take care. Have a good one.